ask, the Filipino might find it hard to say what Filipino food is exactly. Chinese and Spanish styles coexist in uniquely Filipino dishes that have absorbed these outside foods and made them their own. This is indigenizing. This is evolving. This is Filipinicity in food. The process all started with an overseas dish brought by merchants and settlers, such as Chinese traders and Spanish colonizers. Filipino cooks adapted them with ingredients they could find and tastes they could enjoy. As time went on, each dish was not only altered, it was transformed into an entirely new dish belonging to the Filipino culture completely. We embark on a short journey through the history, ingredients, and spirit that chronicle adobo, pansit, and Pinakbet, how they became the uniquely mouth-watering signature dishes representing Filipino identity today. For many Filipinos, adobo is the dish that characterizes Filipino food. Although it has a name given by Spanish colonizers meaning seasoning or marinade, the adobo method of stewing with vinegar is indigenous to the Philippines. Regardless of its Spanish name and influence, there are key differences between Filipino adobo and its Spanish and Mexican cousins. The Spanish adobar sauce is spiced with fiery chili peppers, tomato paste, and cinnamon, while the Mexican rendition uses lemon juice, cumin, and Mexican oregano. Filipino adobo, on the other hand, uses vinegar almost exclusively, which not only flavors but also tenderizes its meat. Filipino cooks took out the salt and splashed in soy sauce, threw out paprika and oregano to make way for laurel leaves and peppercorn. Yet even these ingredients are flexible. Adobo is a symbol of the diversity, adaptability, and innovative spirit of Filipino culture itself. To make a classic adobo, evenly cut chunks of meat are first seared in a hot fat or oil until they're brown. Braising liquids such as vinegar and soy sauce are then added, and the mixture is left to simmer over low heat. The moist heat gently penetrates the meat to break down the collagen and tough fibers, resulting in a fork-tender texture with a thick, flavorful sauce. It's a cooking method that's time-consuming but undeniably rewarding, and all that's left is to serve, watch happy faces and full bellies appear. But long before the Spaniards colonized the Philippines and became entangled in adobo's creation story, the ancient Filipinos had strong trade ties with the Chinese. Pansit, originally called the Hokkien word pianyishi, which meant conveniently cooked food, and came as the Chinese merchant's meal, which eased their homesickness, has transformed into a picture of its new home, the Philippine Islands. The earliest record of noodles is from a book dated to the Han Dynasty in 200 AD. Since then, a Chinese staple has been wheat noodles, and when the Chinese traders in the Philippines ran out, they likely substituted the wheat for rice, initiating the beginnings of a new noodle dish now called pansit. Later, when the Spanish colonized, pansit became a popular takeout food. Women who worked in factories were the first customers of pansiteros because they usually didn't have time to cook for themselves. Pansit became the ultimate, marketable, ready-to-go meal. Through the years, pansit grew to have a wide array of popular variations and is now usually eaten on birthdays as the dish is said to signify long life. Because of this, pansit noodles should never be cut short to preserve the symbolism of a life unbroken by death that stretches out into the future. Although Chinese-style noodles entered the cuisines of many of China's neighboring East Asian countries, such as Korea with jjajangmyeon and Japan with ramen, none have indigenized these noodles like the Philippines with pansit, which has become a dish many English-speaking countries simply know as Filipino noodles. It only takes about 5 minutes to cook a classic pansit dish. Although this stir-fry dish is simple with just meat, egg, or rice noodles, and a few vegetables like string beans, carrots, red bell peppers, or onions, pansit buds into an array of flavors uniquely Filipino. The thick, hefty yellow noodles expand into the perfect backdrop for savory meats and crisp vegetables swirled in sauces and seasonings. Not all famous foods of the Philippines were indigenizations of formerly foreign dishes. Pinakbet was inspired by neither Spanish nor Chinese cuisine. It is a native Filipino creation from the Ilocos region in northwest Luzon. Lighter than some other Filipino favorites, Pinakbet boasts firm vegetables permeated in the flavors of both earth and sea, a balanced representation of what can be grown in the backyards and gardens of most Ilocano households. The name Pinakbet comes from the Ilocano word for shrink or shrivel, and as the name suggests, it is usually cooked until the vegetables have shrunk and concentrated with the seasonings inside. Many would argue the most essential ingredient is bagoong, a sauce made of salted fish which were historically fermented in unglazed earthenware jars. In the Tagalog version, the flavor is enhanced with shrimp paste. In some cases, pork and other meats are added to this native dish, but usually it's the vegetables that take the main stage. Squash is popular as it adds a bright orange color, along with bitter gourd, eggplant, okra, and string beans, all of which are not only healthy and cheap, but also native to the Philippine landscape. Adobo, pansit, and pinakbet are all striking threads in the tapestry of Filipino culture, colorful tiles in the complex Filipino mosaic, and important illustrations of Filipinicity, where the fragments of what was once foreign and forced form into a single, unified picture of Filipino food and identity.